Friends, the Teeth Matter website has been updated. Go to teethmatterpod.com to learn a little bit more about me, but also get access to all the things I use to make my life a little bit easier. Whether it has to do with nutrition or sleep, you can find it there at the Teeth Matter store. Go check it out. Hey everyone, before we dive into the next episode, I just want to give you a Teeth Matter update. 77% of you who watch or listen don't actually follow the podcast. So if you're enjoying the episodes, if you're enjoying learning from other dentists or other dental entrepreneurs on how they navigate their careers, then here's what you need to do. Go to Spotify or Apple iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. Press follow and stay updated. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Teeth Matter, the podcast where we talk about the highs, the lows, and the truths of what it means to have a career in dentistry. I'm your host, Magne Education, and today we're chatting with Master Dental Technician Sam Alawie. Not only is he a Master Dental Technician, but he's also the founder of the luxurious Beverly Hills Dental Lab and the CEO of Magne Education. Sam, welcome to Teeth Matter.
Thank you. Thank you for the invite, and thank you for this kind introduction.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Sam, there's so much I want to talk to you about, but I want you to start from the beginning. Take me back to what first drew you to dentistry, dental technology, and was there like a key moment in shaping your career as a master technician?
Yeah, so back in 1989, I was living in Belgium, Brussels, and I wanted out of high school to apply for dental school. So Belgium had a system like a quota, even if you pass your first entry exam at your college, you still need to be selected by like a lotto system, like randomly they select 700 students per year. I wasn't selected. And it's like they do drawing. It's not really a per name or per person. Just your luck need to be there. So I wasn't lucky enough. Maybe I was lucky enough. We'll see. And so first year I applied. First I passed the exam, but I wasn't selected. And I was talking to somebody in the corridor of the university, and he said he's going to go to dental lab technician school and reapply next year so he doesn't waste a year waiting. I say, oh, well, maybe this is a good idea because on year 2, you learn a lot of lab work. So maybe that's the opportunity to be ahead of time and not waste 1 year. So we went together to a dental technician school in Brussels, and we applied, we got accepted, and I started the first year, and I really fell in love with the art and technical aspect of it. And I never left. I never went back to become a dentist.
That's interesting how the system, not even something that's your choice, the system just pivoted your direction, right? And now you have this beautiful career creating such a beautiful environment. But I personally didn't know that there were different levels of certification when it comes to dental technician. So what sets apart a master dental technician from just an average dental technician?
Yeah, that's really an amazing question because that make a big difference between Europe and the USA. And let me explain to you more about how in Europe works. So first, to become a lab technician, normal lab technician, it's a 3 years in schooling, right? You should have finished your high school, you apply, then of course, you go through all the science and then study the head and everything related to the human bite, the functionality, the material. Then your hand skills are as important, right? So that's 3 years. Then after 3 years, they will not give you your certificate unless you go and do a 6 months of apprenticeship in a local lab. So it's a very serious trade in Europe. That being said, so you did the 3 years, you passed all your exams, then you go to a local lab, you do 6 months of apprenticeship. The lab need to certify that you were there every day and you are suitable to become a lab technician, and that you become officially a lab technician.
Okay.
But doesn't end there. That certificate won't allow you to open a lab yet, unless you also have taken business management classes, and you have to add that. So we had the option while we're doing lab technician certification to do the business aspect of it, like 2 hours a week, every week throughout your career at school, in order to have that certificate so you can open a lab. And that will make a big difference between someone here in the US that just learned from someone and then go open a lab without any restriction. And that's a big, to me, that's a big no.
Why do you say that?
Because learning from someone is amazing and you can be as great, but if you don't have the foundation and understanding, not just the art of it, because there's the science and the medical aspect of it. So look, I want to bring this up, and this is a very controversial topic. You go to cut your hair, there's a certificate on the desk of your hairdresser having a allowed or permit to cut your hair. How come the lab technician cannot have that while they delivering literally a medical device into your mouth or a restoration? This is not a haircut.
Right.
This is teeth. This is your health. Who's making your teeth? Somebody who just learned from someone and been able to open it as a business, or someone who study and learn and understand the functionality? Because you can be an artist and make nice ceramic, but you don't understand the functionality, it's a big problem. And that's why I appreciate the European system in this. And I hope they will one day apply it here in America. And schools are serious about, why students need to go learn here for 2 years to become a lab technician, and then their neighbor can just open a lab like them without learning anything. How is that fair? So I need to add about the European system. Then you become a technician, as I said, after 3 years and 6 months of apprenticeship. Now you want to become a master lab technician. That's another 2 years.
Wow.
It's the 3 years, 6 months does not give you that MDT title. Then in Belgium, where I lived, there's another school that take you to the next level, which is I went to also. So different school. So I went to second school and I did the additional 2 years. And this is where you earn that title.
Right.
So this is how in Europe, majority of European countries have similarities. So this profession in Europe is very serious. In the US, it's not as deep and respected, and you don't need a permit from an organization to become or open a lab or be named lab technicians. So this is really thank you for asking me this. I love to express that, and tell the patient who's doing your teeth. First, are they done here in the US? Are they done by a certified technician? Or just done by someone who want to run a business?
That's a very interesting distinction. I mean, I'm glad we're talking about this because it seems like in Europe, it's like the level of the standard is at a higher level. And it's more of a prestigious career, I guess, than in the US. But do you think the difference in certification, right, between the US and Europe is the reason why many dentists in the US don't really have a relationship with their technicians? They don't understand the value.
I wouldn't say they don't understand the value. The good dentist, the educated dentist into the dental technician world that knows the labs, understand the labs, they appreciate the lab, they understand that lab and dentists can make money together, can also lose money together if it's not a good fit. So the dentist out of school may not understand that relationship yet. And it take a minute to see it and see the importance of it. So this is where I would say dentists have developed their career. They always needed a good lab or good lab technician as partner. Dentists that are starting their career, they may not understanding that. Again, I feel I'm repeating myself here, but the importance is, at the beginning, everybody want to survive. Want to basically earn money, work somewhere. And when dentists out of school are hired at the office, they have to follow what the office wants. If they want to send the crowns, overseas to be done, they have to follow the rules of the office. So they may not exposed to a direct relationship with a lab technician.
Right. And we're going to get into more questions about that in a little bit, but I want to know a little bit more about Beverly Hills Dental Lab. How did that begin? What was your vision for it?
Yes. In 2024, last year, That marks my 30 year as a lab technician. So I graduated in 1994, and that was from Belgium, as I said. And then I moved to America in 2003, March 11, 2003, exactly. March 12, 2003, I was already in a lab because I pre-planned my trip. So I was jet lagged, but I was working. I'm tired. So in my first job, I realized that this is not what I really wanted because I ended up in a very fast-paced lab. 10 people making model work, 3 people making metal work. And I felt this is a very commercial situation, like high production laboratory. I didn't know about this back in Europe because in Europe does not exist. All labs are maybe 1 to 10 people. I'm talking back then. Now we know there are big labs but back then in 94, out of school for me, any lab that I wanted to work for, it's from 1 to 5 people max. No large organization as far as in Belgium. So I'm not used to this. For me was a big adjustment. Just walking into that lab on March 12, 2003 here in Los Angeles, I said, what's this? Right. It looked like a assembly line, So, and this is where I really was immediately concerned, but I lasted there only 6 months. And then after 6 months, I said, this is not for me. I need to do something different. I found another lab that has much smaller crew, like 7 people. Owner was European. He spoke French. My English was terrible. So my second language is French. So it was perfect fit for me. So also the quality was completely different, was a good quality lab. So I felt like I belong. So I worked there for 2.5 years. And then that's 3 years later, I'm here in America. And I said to myself, now it's time for me to start my own something, And April 2006, exactly 3 years after my arrival, I started what's called Beverly Hills Dental Lab. First by myself, then one employee after another to become who we are today.
That's fascinating. Congratulations on this amazing career that you've had. Now, when it comes to the impact you want to make in the industry, what is your vision? Like, what is the impact you want to make with Beverly Hills Dental Lab?
So I don't know if it's the right choice of word, impact, but I rather say I want to keep building relationships, serving patient at best we can. Having dentist partnerships that have the mutual trust and respect and develop this. I mean, I don't feel I can even scale it bigger. I don't want to.
Right.
I've been asked many times, hey, you want to branch out to East Coast, different countries? And I said no to it because I want to maintain the quality, also my inner peace, because you can be everywhere.
Right.
And so if you want to use the word impact is to leave a very positive relationship between lab and dentist and show them how this can be a very beneficial for everybody, So serving the patient, helping people. We are, as an organization here at Beverly Hills Dental Lab, we also have, help a lot of people in needs that can afford dentistry. And this is something that, I like to mention, and I want to tell and invite all other labs to participate in this program, helping people with domestic abuse or any other, problematic life issues.
So do you provide some kind of pro bono work? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody that have contacted us, we connect them with a dentist. We tried to help people that have different life, unfortunate stories. We stepped in, even veterans, etc.
That's really beautiful. That's a great legacy to have. My next question to you is, you mentioned before that, dentistry is evolving when you came here, or let's say in Europe, labs have changed since when you left. And here as well, things have changed and grown and evolved. What dental technology has been the biggest game changer in the field in your perspective?
Of course, the digital workflow of what we do and what dentists do. I remember over 10 years ago, one of my clients out of New York She called me very excited and she said, "Oh, I bought an intraoral scanner." I said, "Well, that's amazing." I hang up the phone and I told her, "Congrats." I hang up the phone. I ordered my first 3D printer immediately.
Yeah.
I said, "Okay, she's an important client
Right.
and I need to keep the business." And now the industry is pushing us toward the digital workflow. That means she got a scanner, I have to have a 3D printer.
Right.
It's a minimum to print models or print anything that is printable, right? In any application. And this is the biggest change is, transforming from analog to digital. But I want to add this. If you don't understand the analog workflow perfectly, for technician and for dentist, don't think digital will be easy, because if you don't know your morphology and you don't know how to wax up a molar, you will not know how to design a molar. Now you're going to tell me, "Oh, but there's the AI
Right.
entered the game." Of course, even if the AI going to give you a proposal, if you don't know your anatomy, how do you know the AI gave you the right proposal? So you have to understand the analog in order to master the digital.
What would you say? I mean, a lot of offices are going to digital and they're not leaving any room for analog or analog materials. What would you say to a new dentist who's entering that kind of workforce?
I would say, yes, learn digital, master it as much, but don't forget the fundamentals of the analog workflow. Understand it, and then you can apply it on your digital daily workflow. That's one. Two, if the schools have not really jumped in and taught you the digital, there's many places where you can go and take CE and learn from the best educators how you can become very good at the analog and also master the digital at the same time. So, with all due respect to schools, including the lab technician schools, they give you the basics. And after you are out, you have to seek some mentorship from the best in the game that been around, people that have proven themselves, have published, wrote books, and are mentors to many. You need to jump into that train in order to progress. The day you say, "I know it all," this is the first day of your failure.
Right. No, I've noticed that. I've realized that everyone comes out of school thinking that they have been given the materials they need to just satisfy their career, but that's very far from the truth. You have to really invest in CE, whether you're a dentist or a dental technician. I do think that that's when you actually start your career, when you start investing in CE.
100%.
Yeah. Going back to the relationship between dentist and technician, what does the ideal relationship look like?
That we can criticize each other in a constructive way. I receive a case, I see a problem, I'm very comfortable to call the dentist and say, this is a problem, this is why, and show what the problem is. And also the other way around. I ship a case, the dentist open it, looked at it, and say, "Sam, I would have preferred a little different, or I see a margin issue, maybe die trimmed differently than I thought, and I need to accept the fact that I have maybe made that mistake." So this is the most ideal relationship, is to being able to communicate without fighting or without feeling attacked. No, we need to just accept the fact that we're human. Errors can happen on both sides. That's the most ideal.
What else do you think dentists need to understand in order to become better clinicians?
The limitations. They need to understand the limitations. They need to accept the limitations of a case. And they need to red flag what they can do and what they're not achievable. And by saying that, what is it? Many times, dentists take on a case that is literally impossible to achieve what the idea is, turns around and bite them back. And this is something dentists need to really pay attention to, because we don't want to look at the case acceptance from a patient and the money and return of this case, but can we see the red flag? What's red flag? When a patient comes to you with already a set of temporaries that have been to 3 different dentists, and you think you want to be a hero and do the case because you can count on a lab like my lab, and say, "Oh, Sam will make this one, will make it happen." I cannot make it happen, because the problem is not me. The problem is not my team. The problem is not the dentist. The issue is the patient is not understanding the outcome of this that is not achievable. So this is where the dentist need to really filter and pay attention to that detail big time.
Right. Yeah, I was just about to ask you, do you think that dentists rely on labs too much?
If you want to rely on a lab a lot, you're not in a driver's seat as a dentist for your practice. And that's a problem. You should not rely just on the lab. You should make your own treatment plan and your own idea of the plus and the minus on this case.
The biggest hack is getting your office to buy you a new pair of scrubs. And I'm not talking about any scrubs. I'm talking about Figs scrubs, because we know that they're a little bit pricey, but they're so comfortable. They're so trendy. They're so durable. And because your office hasn't bought you that pair just yet, I'm going to help you out. I'm going to give you 20% off your next purchase. Just go into the show notes, use my referral code, and level up that wardrobe. Plus, save some money.
And then communicate with the lab, and as a team effort here, or team like thinking how we can achieve, then you can come up with a solution. You cannot count too much on the lab alone or count on yourself alone without a communication with the lab. So I would say team effort, maybe they'll give you the answer.
You mentioned communication a lot. You're very heavy on communication. And let's say a dentist is not local where you are. They're not in Beverly Hills or they're not in LA. How are they meant to communicate with you? And what's your preferred method of communication?
First, before I tell you my method, I want to tell you this, and you're going to laugh, okay? So dentists hates to write, a detailed lab slip. But some they do, and when they do, technicians hates to read.
Okay.
And it's real. Okay, it's real because most of technicians are more on the artistic eye, and they want to achieve the ceramic and this and that. They may have missed something throughout the instructions. Okay, so what's the best way of communication? I would say always write a detailed lab slip. If I'm a dentist, I want to write the most detailed lab slip, because that way you protected yourself from the lab saying it's not written. And when it's not written, it's not going to happen. Why? Because the lab don't have only one client. You may work with a small lab or bigger lab, but even a small lab maybe have 100 clients. So 100 different cases walking through the door. If something is not written, it's not going to happen. So that's one. Two, if you write it and the lab don't do it, then somebody you can blame or correct later. And three, don't call the lab to tell them, by the way, the shade I selected is A1. Write an email, send an email. Everything I would say should be in writing. I'll give you best example. I'm driving on the freeway. I got a call from a dentist and say, hey, Sam, by the way, the final shade on this case is OM1. I would ask him, hey, if you have a minute, just text me that or send me an email. And he said, no, I'm busy. I can't. I said, that's fine. I'll try to text back, okay, thank you for calling me. I'm just confirming in writing the shade gonna be OM1. The reason why I don't want any miscommunication anywhere, because somebody may say, no, I said OM2, you misheard OM1. When it's in writing, the miscommunication become minimum. So that's the first preferred method of communication, is in writing. Anything you want to do is in writing and not verbally. Because verbally could be misheard or misunderstood. In writing, it's clear, more clear.
Right.
So we don't like those chicken scratch writing. Now we're switching our website into you can only type the lab slip.
Really?
Yeah.
I love that.
So it's going to be a portal. Your lab slip is, you need to fill it up online. And write your comments online and print that lab slip included with your case, or if it's a digital, it comes with the case, digital case. And then we're creating a portal where dentists can go add their comments on the case in writing. So they can talk directly to the technician through the portal.
That's fascinating. And then you can upload patient images on that
Of course,
as well.
yeah, the minimum. Of course. So that's the first form of communication, is in writing. The next form of communication become in writing and photography. Very often you receive a case, is number 14. It just say A2. Is it really A2? What about the translucency? What kind of translucency it has? What kind of texture? A lot of details are not seen here by just saying A2. So the next big thing is photography. And molar, back teeth, number 14, 15, still belong to a human. So we need to make them as perfect as possible. So please take a photo.
Right.
So that's the second level of communication. Level 1 is in writing. Level 2 is in writing and photography. And level 3, you can also talk to the technician and say, by the way, I wrote this detailed lab slip. I sent you a picture. Did you look at it? Can we discuss further? This is where the verbal communication become easy and acceptable. Because now you read the lab slip, we're not mind readers. We need written instructions. And many dentists, unfortunately, lack of writing a proper lab slip. We made it easy. Check boxes. Texture, yes, medium. Low texture, high glaze, low glaze, heavy contact. Just check the boxes. So easy. Yeah.
That sounds like it closes the loop. Step 3
Right.
closes the loop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In writing, photography, then verbal communication. 3 things.
Now, you founded Oral Design Beverly Hills to kind of educate the next generation of dental professionals. What is a key lesson that you like to emphasize that is often overlooked in the industry?
Okay, so let me just simply explain what's oral design, because it sounds it's another business, but it's not.
Okay.
So first of all, I cannot mention oral design without mentioning Mr. Willie Geller that passed away about a month and a half ago. Unfortunately, one of my mentors, and you heard me right, I said one of my mentors.
Right.
Because you're always going to need mentors, and I hope we can cover about mentorship. And he's out of Switzerland. He is the founder of Oral Design International. He's a master lab technician and have taught many technicians. Out of school, I won a prize to go and spend time at his lab. And that's how I met him. So in 2020, he invited me to become a member of Oral Design. So what's Oral Design? It was dental lab technician focus group that understand the medical and the art aspect of our profession. Mr. Geller believed in you as a technician. So he will invite people that he believed in, and I was invited. So once you get that title, you can name it after the city where you are. So this is Oral Design Beverly Hills. It's still under the umbrella of Beverly Hills Dental Lab. So that's the idea what's oral design. Now, there are some dentists that became oral design or have been members of oral design way before me. But this group was more focused on technician than dentist. Yes.
Okay.
So that's what's oral design.
And even though it's focused on technicians, what is a key lesson that you kind of reiterate to them?
So I respect Mr. Willie Geller a lot, and I not only respect him, I love him. And he was a great man and a very straightforward person, and that's who I am. And sometimes people that are too direct, people think we're not approachable because we're too direct and we say what we think, but he was very approachable and he was very passionate about what he does. So what I would say about this, I know this group was by invitation only, but if I would want to suggest something, is to accept more young technician and young dentists into the group and make the group more approachable, and so we can mentor other people to become good. I don't like the fact you are invited to a group because you are good. You need to be invited to a group by simply, if they believe in you as somebody you can become very good, to give you the opportunity, to accept you where you are, how other people become good. By the mentorship, by helping them, by accepting them into group. I don't like what's called elite group. You're only good, you're only part of this group because you're good or because you're famous.
Right.
Recently was a lecture invitation, and a word came out from the scientific chair, was talking to me, and he said, we like to invite only famous people in the profession. And I said, why is that? He said, yeah, because it attracts the crowd. And with all due respect, I say, I don't agree, and you need to invite and give the opportunity, the stage, to many others that can become good or learn from this opportunity or learn their skills. So I'm like, and I don't want to upset anybody here, but I really like to mentor people and help others to become very good because that opportunity was given to me. You think I was good when I started and even 10 years ago, but I was heading in that direction. Why? Because I had mentors, people that step into my life and help me and give me guidance. And that was it. This is the formula. There's no rocket science here. We all need mentorship.
I'm really glad you brought up mentorship because I agree with you. I think skills are trainable. I think the values is what really motivates someone to become better or highly skilled, let's say. And it seems like you've had a relationship with mentorship at different stages of your life. You mentioned Mr. Geller, but were there other people involved in your mentorship journey?
Yeah, so first of all, mentorship is not necessarily about your profession. Could be life mentorship, could be financial mentorship, because you can be good technician, but you mismanage money. It's a problem. And could be a mentorship in your trade, in the dental technician or dentistry, right? So, of course, I would always mention people that have impacted me in a positive way. And one of them is Michel Magne, Master Lab Technician, and he's currently part of my team here. And when I met him, I saw different aspects of my profession. And that was back to 2009.
Okay.
So when first I met him, I knew of him because I grew up in Europe and he was living in Switzerland, but I never seen his work. And I knew he was an oral design member. I think he was the third in line to become an oral design member back in the 90s. So anyway, I met him in 2009. When I started looking at his work, I knew he can be a mentor to me. I knew that immediately because I saw completely different aspect of what I do. More the vision of how to integrate a smile in a patient face, not what the dentist think how the smile should look or the patient. So he had this very different vision than mine. So I was lucky enough to have him here since 2013 till now and learn from him on a daily basis and understand how he does. And so that was kind of an indirect mentorship because when Michelle joined my team, I was like, okay, this is perfect. Now I can even learn more. Right. So Willie Geller, Michel Magne are my two mentors in this profession. And outside this place, I wouldn't mention names because you won't know them, but I have mentorship in life and I have mentorship in finances and business. So I always go listen to people, what they have to say and their life experience. For sure, we all, as we get older, we had learned from mistakes we made. And we can share these mistakes with other people and tell them about it so they can fall into the same trap.
Right. Speaking of mistakes, for dental technicians who are looking to level up their labs, what's the single most important thing they should focus on?
They need to understand the big picture of this, not the little things. Lab technician has tendency now to focus on, I am a ceramist. That's the title they like to hear, but I dislike that.
Why do you dislike that?
Yeah, I tell you why. Because a ceramist is only someone who applies ceramic, but a lab technician is more broader knowledge of dental technology. So I'll tell you the difference. If somebody want to call himself ceramist only, that means he only know how to do ceramic. You ask him to build an upper denture, he does not know how to do that. You ask him to make a partial or an orthodontic appliance, they don't do it. They don't have passion for it. I understand. And this is the beauty back to school in Europe is you learn every aspect. Then you choose a specialty and you become a master lab technician and you call yourself master lab technician, not master dental ceramist.
Right. I understand.
I think there's a big difference because today from my era of technician, we can sit down and set up a denture or make a bar or Hader bar or attachment or a partial. We understand that. And we can do ceramic too, right? But if you grab a technician that just went to school to learn ceramic, you ask him to do anything else, they don't know. And why I want to mention this, you can be a ceramist and do 6-unit a bridge, but the dentist wrote he want 2 attachment on the distal of the canines and a metal partial frame, then how you can finish a case like that? This is why I tell technicians, learn every aspect of dental technology, not just focus on digital or removable or ceramic or 3D printing, rather learn at 360. This is my advice.
No, it's definitely more comprehensive. I think that the difference in the way people use it is because it sounds more elevated if you say ceramist. Am I wrong?
If they feel that way, I'm happy for them.
All right. Well, let's go back to you and mistakes. If you could go back to the day you opened up your lab, what is a piece of advice you would give your younger self?
What piece of advice I would give my younger self? I would say slow down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Accept criticism in a better way, which is I did not do. Maybe when I started, I was more defensive and not accepting the criticism. I refused to look at my own problems. And that's the biggest advice I would give myself today is to slow down, listen to others, accept my mistakes, and own them.
I like that. I think not accepting criticism is probably a very common trait amongst a lot of us. So that's a good one. If someone wanted to reach out to you, connect with you, or maybe take one of your courses at Beverly Hills Dental, how can they find you?
Well, we also run Magne Education.
Yes.
So Magne Education is a platform where dentists and technicians can take their CE level much higher. And we have a group of faculty and teachers here. It's not just me. So they can learn all aspects of dentistry. For dentists, at least they can take all the courses with Dr. Pascal Magne and biomimetic veneer courses. Most of our classes are full right now. And then we have a course called CAD Plus for dentists and technicians to understand layering and choice of material, what you choose for what case. Just a few days ago, we had 24 attendees learning a veneer course, right? And we had 3 technicians in the class. 2 of them came from Germany.
Wow.
And
amazing.
many dentists came from European countries. So when I see this, it really makes me happy because I see people coming all around the world to learn and progress, and even technician. And that specific class, to be honest with you, it's more targeted to dentists. But when technicians sign up, he said, I want to learn what my dentists need to learn so I can help my dentist. 2 technicians come all the way from Germany with their own 2 dentists. So a group of 4 travel together, they all learn together. And that's the best thing, is to take your level to the next level, is to take CE. And I want to mention this. Make sure you take CE from places that has continuity, has a curriculum, because you cannot learn it all in one course. I really, personally, if I see a course online on Facebook or on Instagram, somebody offering a course, I want to see what this person offer as a next course, and a third course, and a 4th course, and a 5th course. Why? Because if I come to this person and take that only one course, there's no continuity to that. And this is where we made sure here, it's a curriculum. You learn one course up to 10 different courses. It's on veneer preps or veneer delivery, biomimetic, minimally invasive. Then you have a 3D printing, dental photography, and implant restorative, full arch implant restorative. There's always a continuity of these courses, including digital, of course, right? And that's why people love, and that's why our classes are full, because there's a continuity. Not one-time course. One-time course is like going on a date just one time and being single the rest of your life. You don't want to do that.
No, that's interesting that you said no one's ever given me that advice before. I do appreciate that because I also think, 1, you stay with the same philosophy or philosophy of education, and 2, it gives you time to apply what you learned in one course before you take the next course. Does that make sense? Because
100%.
application is also different. That also takes time to integrate before you take something else.
And I have to say this. Besides, you need to look at the curriculum or series of courses where you can progress. You also need to look who's teaching you. Is it somebody just industry-driven course? What that's supposed to mean? Is it someone just want to promote let's say, a composite brand and teaching you to push a composite brand? Or somebody is really teaching you without an agenda? And also, who is your instructor? You go on an airplane, you have to trust the pilot. We heard this term many times, right? You trust the pilot. It's your life. So it's the same thing. You need to trust your instructor. Don't just go on this without knowing what your instructor can teach you and the level of education your instructor knows.
Right.
That's why I refuse when someone tells me we need to recruit famous speakers. I'm sorry, no. We need to recruit educated and somebody that has knowledge, not famous.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with courses. People can be famous on Instagram. For sure. You can buy followers. You can be famous on Instagram. That doesn't mean you're good. That's why I tell people and I tell patients, open your eyes. What you see online may be not true.
Right.
From photo editing, from end result photo editing, instructors, they're known because they have followers, but doesn't mean they're good.
Yeah, no, I mean, what you're saying, it's your vision and your purpose is genuine, which is a very rare thing in the world or in life in general. Forget just dentistry, but the honesty that comes with it is beautiful. And I really do appreciate you for coming on Teeth Matter and sharing your story with us. Sam, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this and giving me the opportunity actually to express and give the young technician a chance to have a clear roadmap in their career and also to inspire dentists and technicians to work together more as a team.
And that's what it's all about. Thank you.
Thank you.
So that's the end of our episode. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. If you did, please follow, subscribe, write a review, share it with your friends so that I know that I'm not just talking into the abyss, that the content is what you need to hear. It hits where it needs to hit and you feel empowered. So doing all those things tells me that and makes all of this worthwhile. I hope to see you at the next episode. Cheers.